Before I became a teaching assistant at the Earls High School, I worked as a judge's clerk in the Lord Chancellor's department. The reason I decided to change, to have a different job, was the fact that I had 2 children. I took a career break, and while I was on the career break, I started working at a primary school, helping out.
Before I became a teaching assistant, I was working in the industry from actually leaving school. Unfortunately, the company closed down. I was made redundant. I saw the opportunity, applied for the job, and I got the job, which I was grateful for.
Well, originally I was just employed till December to cover maternity leave. I was thinking about doing teaching, but I didn't want to go straight into teaching because I wasn't 100% sure that's what I wanted to do. So I thought I'd do teaching assistant role and get a feel for what the job was like.
I thought it would be more difficult than this. Working with the children would be more difficult to get them to listen to you. That was my main worry, and getting on with everyone in the school. But it's been absolutely brilliant. I've had no problems at all with it.
I think the first teaching assistant joined us in 1997. Since then, the number of TAs in the school has grown from 1 to, we now have 9 full-time and 5 part-time teaching assistants. At the Earls, I've chosen that the teaching assistant actually supports the individual students and goes with them to all different subject areas. We have students with specific learning difficulties. We have students who have a disability, students who have a visual and hearing impairment, students with emotional behavioural difficulties. And so there's a wide range of individual needs that we need to meet.
Jane will come in every morning and we just spend 5-10 minutes, whatever length of time it is between when he comes in and registration, just generally chatting about things, mainly just to build up that bond and that relationship with him. When I first started to work with him, he was very quiet, he wouldn't talk, and we've just worked gradually at chipping that away and building up his confidence, building up the relationship.
Put the following 5 sentences into the correct word order. Ihr habt 10 Minuten. 10 Minuten. Ganz schnell.
He does have problems with his writing. If the lesson is slowly paced, then I'll encourage Jamie to do the writing himself. If it's a fast-paced lesson, then I would tend to do most of the writing for him.
Number 4.
I try to get a balance. If I allow him to do all the writing, he'll fall behind. If I do all the writing for him, he's not getting the practice that he needs. So I work on the basis that it's better for me to do the writing in fast lessons than for him to sit there absorbing and taking everything on board. And I will check with him at various stages during the lesson that he understands and ask him questions to make sure he does understand what's being said.
Ja, gut. Gut langweilig. Your point. Sehr gut, Jamie. Prima. Okay.
2 things that we're looking at. 1, what makes a sound loud? What makes a sound quiet?
How would you make a higher noise? Is that higher? The benefit for the children to have one-to-ones in these lessons is that these children can actually get into that class and actually do the experiments and actually be part of a proper classroom arrangement.
Volume and pitch are the 2 things about away.
People like Stephen, they would walk through the door and the next thing was they'd be out through the door because they couldn't possibly cope with all the hassle that's going on at that time. And if there was no one to just focus them on the actual thing that's going on, you wouldn't stand a chance. They'd have either hurt somebody or they'd be so rowdy and they'd have to go out again. So those kids would then lose out. They wouldn't be able to take part.
Sound travels as a wave, it's vibrations. When you were hitting that ruler, you were making sound vibrations.
The TA works with several students in the classroom, not just to the student that they're assigned to.
It's quicker, it gets faster, they get closer together.
And that's important for the individual student as well, so that they feel fully integrated into the lesson and involved in discussion tasks.
The other children that you go into are usually children that perhaps don't read too well or can't spell very well or just need that little bit of confidence, a pat on the back and say, yeah, you're doing great there. You know, that's just what we need. But they know that if they need any more help, I'm around at break time, we're around at lunchtime in the library, and they can come and find us and say, well, you just help me with this, can we just type this up? And it just gives them that little bit more security than they get if they just got the teacher in the class.
He'll spend lunchtime with me. During lunch, we'll have about 10-15 minutes where we'll have our lunch, and then we spend 10-15 minutes reading. We're going through a set of books at the moment. When he reaches the end of these books, he should then be on to normal reading books. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's been a big bonus because to see how in 9 months his reading really has come on.
I want those students working alongside their peers and being educated in the mainstream classroom so that they feel they can achieve and their self-esteem and confidence is raised. That is so important.
What we were doing was we were thinking about how you could work on throwing and catching and games like that and rules and techniques, really.
He'll tell me if he wants something doing or doesn't want anything doing, and I'll just ask him if I'm doing right or wrong. You'll let me know, won't you?
Yeah.
The actual skill, the actual accuracy of the pass is going to help, but what we've got to do...
What we try and do is try and involve Chris in mouse group activities, don't we?
He's good. He's a buddy.
I'm a buddy. Yeah, we work all right together, don't we?
Yeah. We're a crazy pair, we are.
Sometimes Chris gets tired at the end of the day, so just help you get around the school, and then towards the end of the day you need scribing sometimes, don't you? So help with writing things out, things like that.
If you're working out the speed, look, okay, your distance is 1 metre, okay, and your time is 1.36. It's 1 divided by 1.36.
I think the benefits of being in the classroom with them is to help with their confidence. I think that's the main thing that you need to do, to sit with them and say, it's okay, you know, if you can't do this, we'll work together on it. And sometimes it can be embarrassing for them because they don't want to be different. But if there's a group of them, which there is in my Year 8 class, they all get on and they'll all sit there and work together. And if you can just get them to do one piece of work that they're proud of, then it will help them throughout their education and build their confidence every time if you're there to back them up.
You finished? Excellent. Okay, then do an average. Okay.
And finding a mechanism to get them onto a level with them and interest them in something that you're saying so you can actually get them to do some work.
The farmers have got their fields. They don't want people trespassing. They don't want people camping in their fields, do they? So that could be one main part of conflict. And another one...
You learn from experience, really, because when I came in, I didn't really know what it was going to be like with the behavioural difficulties children. So you learn by working through with the children and trying to keep calm.
Okay, Stephen, let's see if he gets running. You just identify one that you think is both a feature and a cause. Okay, right. Now,
99% of these students, as most students, they're good kids and they just need a little bit of security or a little bit of confidence boosting. And they can come in and have a good day's schooling and enjoy it. I mean, I've got one child at the moment who doesn't want to come to school or hasn't been to school, and there's a lot of problems going on. And at the moment, I'm literally walking him from each lesson to the next lesson because he can't cope with these crowds in the corridors. He's now coming in and going straight to registration of a morning, which to me is brilliant. You know, this kid's coming into school now with a smile on his face. Because
I wasn't really aware of some of the different needs, that the pupils have. So then I had to learn different ways of handling and helping the pupils. But now I've sort of fitted in, and it's becoming a bit easier now. Becoming more confident. The pupils know who I am now, and they're less hesitant to come and ask for help, which before it was quite hard working with them when they were a bit shy.
I've no doubt at all that teaching assistants have helped raise educational standards here at the O's. Clearly for individual students, and we've got numerous examples of individual students. If I just look back to last year's Year 11 exams, I could cite for you examples of a number of students, but one in particular who stands out, who would probably, without teaching assistant support, gained maybe 1 A-star to C grade, who actually gained 5 and did very well in a host of other subjects as well. Now that was really through the long-term support throughout his 5 years here.
At the end of the day, I escort him back to his mum. And it gives me a chance to interact with his mum, to build up a relationship there as well, because that was very important.
Yeah, Mrs. Bartlett's asked me to ask if it's okay if he comes to the Dudley Book Festival.
It's at the school, and I'll pick him up, because I'm only coming for the afternoon, so I'll pick him up and drop him off after.
Okay, what time's that?
If I'll pick him up about 12:30.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Right.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Okay,
Yeah,
bye. Bye.
Without the teaching assistants, a number of our students would not be able to survive in a mainstream school, and that would be detrimental to the needs of the individual student, because they need to be included in a mainstream school alongside their peers. We're working with the teaching staff, with the parents, where appropriate, with the external agencies, to make sure that wherever possible we are meeting the needs of the students in our care.
The most rewarding thing in my job is when you've had a student, particularly a student with behavioural difficulties, and you've got them to work.
The rewarding parts of the job and to work the hours that I do work for the money I get paid is the fact that these kids do appreciate you being there. You know that at the end of the day, if they turn around and say, "Bye miss, see you tomorrow," that is fantastic. For some kids to come back at us and say that, it's just brilliant.
The best bit of the job, it's got to be working with Chris, really. It's really rewarding seeing him enjoy a normal school day.
He seems like a really nice person. The only thing I'm unhappy about it is that I didn't do it 15, 20 years ago when I had the conviction about doing it. The first time that I thought about doing it. That's the only thing I'm unhappy about. I wish I'd have got into the job a lot earlier.